Hey y'all, it's a gaming double feature today. We're diving back into our dual stick shooter, but with a twist. While I'm making changes live, another AI is building the same game at the same time. That's right, it's Agent 3 versus Agent 3 in a head-to-head AI showdown. And sure, technically it's the same AI, but let's pretend my prompts actually make a difference. I think you'll be surprised by the results. In the end, let's see who wins the battle of brains and code, and most importantly, let's have some fun. All right, let's jump in. Before we get started, we're going to go to Replit and we're going to scroll down and we're going to go to our projects. If it's not here, you can hit view all, but we're going to go to remix because we cannot deploy the same project at a different URL. It would actually stomp our previous work that we made in part one. We don't want to do that. So we're going to do Pixel Arena. We're going to do a very original name. We're going to call it part 2. And we're not going to skip the description for right now. And we're going to hit remix app. So it should spin up another instance here. We got part 2. And it's going to load the workspace. It imports in all the previous files from part 1. And we're going to be able to make changes to this new project. But it's actually importing in all the old project settings. So we're going to continue with iterating on that. But before we get started on that, I am going to do a little bit of a double feature here. I'm going to get a prompt. We're going to go over to Agent 3 on Replit. And what this is supposed to do is supposed to be kind of an all-in-one agent-driven deployment, or not just deployment, excuse me, but the actual builder. And it's supposed to go off and just build the application based off of your prompt. And you're not supposed to have to prompt it again. So it should just take it, in this case, a good large prompt, and it's going to go off and build this application while we're doing other things. So I'm actually going to try to build close to the same thing that we're going to build in the other project and off of part 1. So I have a pretty large prompt here. Sorry, it's not going to display it that well, but it is our prompt from part 1. The shooter game prompt, and I do not have an improved prompt button like I did in part 1. And then I actually put a lot of the other features that we're going to work on here in part 2 in the other project that we're going to put into Agent 3 here. I haven't done this yet, so let's just see what happens with that. See if it can handle that. And while that's cooking, we're going to go back over to our actual project that we're working on. And we're going to get to work on some of these changes. So one of the changes that I want to make is how we are hitting walls right here. Oh boy, these guys are going to get me. And I actually don't want walls. I want this to be endlessly scrollable. So I'm going to make that change here. Let's go back to our assistant, actually. I'm going to use that instead. And I'm going to move it over. Oh, is it going to let me do it? Oh, there we go. That's what I was trying to do. I kind of like the 3-panel kind of thing. I have my main Agent 3 over here to the left. It doesn't say Agent 3 over here. I was just in here the other day, and it had that showing. Did they turn that? That's interesting. Maybe they turned that off for right now. Not quite sure, but we are still using Claude 4.5 Sonnet. So we're going to say... instead of having walls on the side of the room, I want the game to be endlessly scrollable. Let's see what it can do with that. So not a huge change, but gameplay-wise, it really kind of changes the gameplay. So let's see what it comes up with, because now enemies should be spawning outside of the kind of room area. And it says now I need to update the enemy spawning logic to spawn enemies relative to the player's position rather than fixed canvas edges. Right, because it was just spawning enemies outside the room, could easily do that, and then they just kind of come in and seek towards me. It's updating the grid drawing to work with endless scrolling. Cool. Update bounds, checking for bullets relative to the player. Okay, updated collision handling. Okay, so it looks like it did quite a bit. Let's apply those changes. Let's see how the game plays. There we go. Look at that. Guys, I don't know about you, but that's really cool when it's able to do that. My aimer isn't working correctly, but I do like it that it was able to do that. At least make this part. Ooh, boy, look at that. That part cool. So my aimer for shooting isn't working correctly. It's not following my mouse pointer. So let's see what it does there. So when you make changes like this, where you're changing the room to infinitely scrolling, I mean, oh, there we go. I mean, other bugs can happen because that's a pretty major change. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's pretty cool. That's a fun little change because now we can do a lot of other fun changes to the game to make it that much more engaging. Okay, we don't have to click. That's right, made that change. And the stuff does fade away. Kind of doesn't, well, it just makes you really push towards getting those things before they disappear. Got a little bit of overlap here with this text. Maybe we'll fix that as well here coming up. But let's keep on making other gameplay changes. Now, I started using this other AI tool called Layer AI to make some game graphics. At first, I wasn't that impressed with it, but now I've changed some of the options, did more enhanced prompting here, and it's pretty cool what it's come up with. And I've since downloaded those graphics. So let's take a look at those. So we have a sprite sheet of enemies. They don't have animation states, I will admit that. So they're not going to animate. They're just going to kind of be these pixel graphics that are just going to be kind of moving towards us. But, you know, later we could see about trying to make some animation of some kind for each of these. But for right now, we're just going to kind of put these enemies into our game. And I have a circular spaceship. I'm hoping that this imports correctly. Within Layer AI, I wasn't able to see like why this isn't coming up as transparent. In some of the other options, I was able to, or the other graphics, I was able to have more options here and drop the background, but I'm not seeing that when I'm working with this image, which is weird, but it does, you know, I do have transparency selected. So let's see what that looks like, even though we've got this white here, whereas the other graphic, you could tell that it had a transparent background, and that's what you want in these sprite sheets. Is you want a PNG with transparency. So then you're able to just see the graphics because obviously you don't want to have a white box around your spaceship, right? So let's see what this looks like. Before moving on to adding in some graphics here, I'm going to jump back to the, oh, now they called it Pixel Pulse. Okay, the one where we had the prompt with Agent 3, and I'm going to select build the entire app. So unavailable with this app type. Huh, I haven't seen that before. Oh, maybe because it figured out it's a game. Okay. But this is what it's going to build out. So it did take the prompt pretty well. Let's see what it comes up with. I'm really curious to see what it does. Now, it says 20 plus minutes. In the demos that I've seen with Agent 3, they've talked about having this take up to 2 hours to be able to build an application. So let's see what it does with this game. It may take that long, but let's just find out. Okay, while that's cooking, we'll go back to our game. That's also another thing that I like about vibe coding is if you are doing big swaths of changes, it can be fun to kind of jump around from project to project. Instead of just focusing on one, like when one's cooking, you kind of jump over to the other tab and then you're actually making changes there and then jumping back and forth between tabs. I kind of like that. So we have an enemies ping here. Let's plop that in. And we'll say here is an enemy sprite sheet. It's 1024 by 1024. I just looked in the properties for that. And it has 5 rows and 5 columns. I'm not going to tell it the exact like dimensions to chop it out. Let's just tell it this and see what it does. So 25 enemies total. I want you to create enemies this, and let's see, I also have a sprite sheet, or excuse me, sprite sheet. I have a JSON of enemies here of various properties and rewards. You know what? This might be a better one for the bigger agent here. And I have this as a text file. So let's plop that in there. Let's bring this over here. Let's bring the enemies over here. Let's get rid of that. I'll take my prompt, cut it, paste it over here, create enemies from this, and the properties from the JSON text that is also attached. That should be good enough. Let's see what it does with that. We're going to give that to the agent. Probably cost me like $5 for this change or something. The agent has gotten a little, not a little, a lot more expensive since moving over to this. I don't know if it's just verbiage with what it's, being called, or if it's actually is doing a lot more behind the scenes, or if it's really kind of the same implementation. I guess I'll trust them and think that they are doing a bit more with Agent 3 behind the scenes. Okay, let's go back to the other tab for Pixel Pulse, and it's still building things out, as we can expect, and it'll be doing that for a long time. Okay, and it's creating the system here, and let's see what it comes up with. Our agent is still building things out in our Part 2 game, but I'm going to go over to Pixel Pulse, and it actually does have some feedback for me on what it's built, and I can have it continue building, but it looks like I guess we'll continue building. I don't think these are clickable or anything. Okay, yeah, it just says task pending, proposed task. Okay, great. MVP, well, doesn't work. But yeah, let's continue building. Maybe it'll just work through that error. How did the agent do? How would you rate the agent's performance on the last task? You know what? I'm going to say very dissatisfied. Okay, I thought maybe it was going to ask me, okay, what are you dissatisfied about? But it didn't. Okay, so it's going to keep on building here. Let's see what it does. But I think it's good to give them that feedback, because even though I couldn't tell them that, hey, there was an error, they know that, it was messing up at least at the first checkpoint. Let's go back to Part 2. Oh, okay, here we go. Enemy system has been implemented with 20 different enemy types. So I really had 25 in there, but my JSON only had, the JSON had 20. Oh yeah, JSON had 20. The sprite sheet had 25 enemies on it. So let's see what it does. We also need to change the player, obviously. Ooh, okay. Got the graphics in there. Cool. And they're dropping different amounts of experience blocks. Whoa, what are those things? Okay, are they... Oh, okay. I see the other... Oh, man, I couldn't really tell what the other enemy was, but I'm going to make these bigger. Everything's got to be a little bit bigger. Oh, wow, those guys are chasing me. Okay, this is already getting pretty crazy. Oh, boy. So you got to remember, you're like, oh, well, Nate, there's all kinds of things that are wrong here, and this isn't good, that isn't good. It's all about iteration. Even in, real video game development, if you were just doing code and not even doing AI development, oh boy, it's all about video game iteration. You never get anything right on the first try. So as you can see, like, I should be leveling up, and I'm not, but things are getting real crazy. What are those orange circle things? Oh boy. Oh, all right. So score is way lower. Obviously, a lot of adjustment needs to happen here. And looks like we have a little bit of a bug when we submit the score, so we'll have to address that as well. I'm going to do that right now. When you try and submit the score, it doesn't take you to the scoreboard. You should only submit the score once after gameplay. So let's do that. And let's see what it comes up with there. But this is pretty good for the enemies that it implemented. But as you find out with game development, when you make one big change, you know, you kind of have to go back through the game and see what it did change and what you have to change back. So, but this is a really good iteration here and is a lot of fun to really just kind of see a lot of progress really fast. Okay, so let's make this change here. Problem is with... Okay, so there was a problem with the high score entry component. Okay. So let's just get a little bit of a score here. Okay. And then we'll die. And put in our name. There we go. Great. And so it did get our score last time, although I thought it was like 44. Did I not see that correctly? Anyways, we can also dig into that and fix whatever we need to. Main menu. Oh, okay. Takes you back to that. That's cool. Okay, let's keep on moving on. And we are going to put in some more abilities, kind of upgrades. So let's see what how much the changes were here. 5 minutes of work. Also, $1.13, not bad. And it read 1,170 lines of code, 20 actions. Code change, 445 lines of code. I mean, that's a lot of code. So let's go and get our upgrades or abilities. JSON, I came up with 40 of them, and admittedly, for the enemies and for the upgrades, did a lot of them with ChatGPT. Now, before you guys go, hey, Nate, you should write all those yourself. Come on now. That's true. I could. This is a really good starting point, though. The idea is you start with something that a lot of these games really are pretty templated in terms of the abilities. A lot of video games have kind of the same abilities, so that's where ChatGPT gets these. But based off these, you can really just kind of tweak them from here and really kind of make it your own. So this is a really good starting spot, and that's the way that you need to think about it. Before we do that, I want to make the enemies 100% bigger, but keep the bullets the same size. So I want to make that change as well here. Let's get the prompt ready for the agent. And while this one's going here, I can just type into this text box. Please add these upgrades and abilities to my level up screen when I am picking a new ability to add. Okay, let's see what the enemy data does here. I bet this is a pretty interesting class with all the different enemy types. Wonder if it puts it all there in one, or if it used the JSON data for everything. There we go. No, oh yeah, and there we got the huge explosions back. Got a little bit of screen shake there too. Bullets do hurt. I like that. Ooh, boy, you get a lot of dudes after you. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to make another quick change here. Make XP coins stay on screen 100% longer, and let's make enemies 25% smaller. Let's do that change. Okay, so that change is done with the coin stay on screen 100% longer, make enemies 25% smaller. I also added in XP coins should be worth 5 per pickup at its base amount, because it was they're only worth 1. So I like that enemy size a little bit more. And that's kind of strange that I'm not getting coins at an increment of 5. I think some of these are worth money, not XP. Oh boy, hard to pick those up. All the bullets flying around. Ooh, there we go. So we still have a problem here with overlapping text. And I'm going to do that abilities thing here in a second. Oh man, look at them. Sweet, sweet pickups. Oh boy, we got another enemy type here. Oh my goodness. See, already this game is getting pretty ridiculous, pretty deep. Okay, damage up. Speed boost, rapid fire. I'm going to go with speed boost. Oh yeah, much faster now. That's really handy. Because with the money, we could also add in some shops, or we could add in some treasure chests or something that it takes to gold to open them. I know that sounds a little bit funny, but that's what some games do. Games like Megabonk, which I have been really getting into. It's kind of why I wanted to work on this project today, is Megabonk has really been inspiring me. Ooh, heal, restore health. Oh, it didn't fill it up all the way. Oh yeah, look at them rapid fires, man. I'm getting sucked in. I gotta stop playing. All right, so let's please add these upgrades and abilities to my level up screen when I am picking a new ability to add. Let's throw that into the agent. Let's check on Pixel Pulse. Looks like it is looking pretty good here. We gotta see what it's done. Completed the enhancements. All right, let's see. Oh, no, we got an error here, so it probably could pick this up from the console itself, but I like to grab a screenshot of it. Error on startup. Not looking too good for Agent 3, huh? It's got to do a little bit better of a job. But come on, there we go. Oh, I got music playing in the background. Okay, so we got music coming from this application. Try to refresh it. Okay. Good. On the title screen, we're not hearing music yet. We don't want that playing all the time. Going back to our other game, it's adding in the abilities. So let's let these cook for a little bit and we'll come back to it. Okay, it says it fixed the error on the Pixel Pulse game. So, oh, we got another error. Oh boy. And I'm just going to tell you guys, the music that it's playing for this game is the same kind of music I'm hearing on a lot of games that are generated with Replit. So I wish it was a little bit more original with the music selection, or if it had a library of music that it's accessing, or however it's doing it. Error when I start the game and pick up a coin, I'm believing, because since it says the coin class there is having a problem. Okay, so we'll hit refresh there so I don't have to hear the same redundant music over and over again. Okay, so the other game on part 2 here, it says that it's implemented a bunch of... Oh, did it? Was it just me to change my bullets? And the XP pickups are back down to 1 for some reason. Don't like that. I'm going to make... XP coins should be worth 5. I really wonder why I did not get that one right. I'm going to say that to the assistant again. Set to 1. Okay, all coins are dropped. Okay, that 5 XP. Okay. Okay, it's done with that change. Let's apply that. So refresh the page here. Let's jump back into the game. And back up to 5. That's great. Okay, we got the shooting enemies already. I'm going to add a game timer to this too, because with the enemy spawning, it is dependent on time of how long you are. Oop. Okay, well I got spread shot. That's awesome. Okay, I'm going to hold that down. We are going to spread shot these guys. And as you can see, the effects are kind of a little bit nuts. I can shoot off the screen, but that's kind of not helpful because then I can't get to the coins in time. Increases coin pickup radius, piercing rounds. Bullets pierce through enemies, hitting multiple targets, damage boost. I want to be able to pick up coins easier. There we go. That's pretty nice. You can kind of see where that hitbox is hitting those coins. That'll be handy. I'm going to stop shooting so much because I'm not able to get to the coins and I actually don't know where the enemies are at. Ooh, that's cool. That guy's got a cool pattern. Oh boy, who's that guy? Enemies explode for a small AoE, area of attack. Effect. There we go. Damage on death. I'm going to do the aftershock. Yeah, let's see. So if the game, oh boy, if the game is too easy now, with all of these abilities, we can always increase health of the enemies. We can try to ratchet up the difficulty in other ways. Or we can just kind of see how far we get and just allow players to kind of get overpowered. Because this spread shot is... Oh my goodness. What is going on? I don't know what that was. Oh, I bet that was an enemy attack. I bet he froze my shooting ability. Oh, wow. That's... Yeah. Oh my goodness. That is debilitating. Okay, bullet size, shield bubble. Picking up coins nearby towards you. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. Okay. Bullet size. Absorb 1 hit every few seconds. Okay. I'm going to go with bullet size. Oh, that doesn't look too much. Yeah, slightly bigger. Yeah. Oh man, that is bad not being able to shoot. Whoever that jerk is that's doing that. But I mean, this is still decently challenging. I know I'm kind of whipping around here and doing a lot, but that's pretty cool. So from here we could, really sit here and play the game a bunch and balance it. And that's what game development is all about. Playing your creation, send it around to your friends, and seeing how they would change things if things are too easy, too hard, not fun enough, that sort of thing. Wow. All right. Well, I'm going to let this kill me here. Eventually, there we go. Put in 80. That's a high score right there. Level 5. Oh, I think a boss was probably going to come out soon. Okay, let's check on the other game. Oh boy. Okay, it's not getting my aiming correct. Man, that's strange. Wait. What? Yeah, guys, I'm not this bad. It's really not doing my aiming correctly. Boy, I don't even know like what it's actually doing. Okay, let's that's what we were going for. So that's what Pixel Pulse came up with. That's what Agent 3 came up with. So you guys really kind of see high scores. Okay, there wasn't even a high score enter. So you guys are really kind of seeing like what's the difference between what iteration can do and where kind of trying to build an application, in this case a game, where it actually gets you. And it doesn't really get you to a good spot. XP progress bar is in a terrible spot. I guess the score's over here, but we got overlap. Okay, we do have music on, off. You know, we don't have a high score table. It did come up with other sound effects. That's cool, but I specifically told it not to do box graphics, but it probably just doesn't have access to anything else. It doesn't have access to trying to actually do different sprite sheet graphics of any kind. So yeah, that's where we're at with that game. I would call that pretty decent disappointment in just using Agent 3 out of the box. So I think for right now, with where these tools are at, good old-fashioned iteration and working with the AI through is a much better way to go. So back at that design screen when it said, do you want to spend more time on the application and build it out fully, or do you want to design and iterate? I would go with the design and iterate, try to get as bare bones as possible, and then iterate with the AI, like what we've been doing here with Pixel Arena. And I think because this is decent, this is pretty fun, and we're making a lot of progress. Okay, we have a prompt here to the assistant to use some sound effects that I came up with at JSFXer. So we've used this for other effects in the first video. So I think it's a little handy tool for a lot of 8-bit sounds. It's free to use, just generates things, and you just kick out a WAV file. Very handy. And I am going to send this in to the assistant. Hopefully it can kind of map all these. I gave some good instructions on what file name should be associated to what piece of logic. Looks like it's going to add these to the assets, to the sounds. And then we actually have 3 other tracks that I've used in a previous game that's online called Shooter Survivor. I'm using the same kind of fun chiptune songs. The author has them for free on the Pixabay. This chiptune creator, this guy's great. Show him some love. So he's got some really good tunes on there, and especially for these types of games. So I'm just going to reuse those, and I'm going to apply all on these sounds. Hopefully they get applied correctly. We'll test out our game here in a moment. Once these are all running, it's running shell commands to attach the assets into the correct directory and reference those in code. So it's taking a little bit of time here to do that. Let's see. Oop, don't need to look at that. Okay, it applied those, made the code changes. I kind of messed up my window there. There we go. Okay, let's start the game. You guys probably can't hear it that well, but I'm hearing some different sounds every time I shoot. And when I kill the enemies, I'm hearing the enemy death sound. So if you're like, oh, well, that's kind of lame to keep hearing the same sounds. Well, you can also tell the assistant to use other sounds as well that you could make in JSFXer, so you could just keep applying more and more sounds. Now, I'm going to try something that I haven't tried before. Let's go back to the assistant. I'm going to say, can you... Oh boy, I'm taking hits. Oh, and there was my death sound. Okay, I just wanted to hear that. So all the sounds did get applied in the right places. Can you pitch shift the enemy death sound? Enemy death sound and gun firing sound, or player, I'll just say player gun firing sound to a random pitch, so it's not the same sound every time. Let's see if it can do that. I believe it can. I haven't done that specifically. I have been the one to do the pitch shifting and adding that into the game and adding in other sounds, but let's see if it can handle that. I'll add in some random pitch shifting for enemy death sound and player gun firing sound. Make the audio more dynamic. I agree that it will. Let's see if it pulled that off. I'm going to plug in my headphones on this and see if I can hear it better. I do not think it's pitch shifting at all. Let's see. Can I see that code? Playback rate. That's not really pitch shifting. Okay. Playback rate. So it's going to like slow it down. Shift between 0.9 and 1.1. Let's change that. So I am going to tell it, which I can't change it there anyways. Let's pitch. Let's make the pitch shifting much more dramatic. So I'm not giving it a value. I'm just saying much more dramatic. So let's see what it does. I mean, maybe it was varying a little bit, but I could barely tell a difference. So let's see what it came up with here. Between 0.7 and 0.3 or 1.3. Let's give that a try. If not, I'm going to give it some exact values. Playback speed. That's how it's doing pitch shifting. Okay. Hey, at the end of the day, all we really care about is results, right? So as long as it does it. So I would not call that pitch shifting. Yeah, it's just taking longer or shorter to play the sound, but that's not really making it sound any different. So I would rely on our own methods to make different pitches. So you could use that in JSFXer to actually make different sounds. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'll leave that alone for now. So we're going to add in these other 3 tracks that I like for music, and I'm also going to add some buttons for turning the music and sound on and off. Let's see if the assistant can handle that and not have to run that through the agent. Since these kind of one-off changes should be something that the assistant can handle, it'll save us on some cost of actual code change and manipulation. So it's something to be on top of as you're iterating with these agents and with your projects, is to use the assistant as much as you can, as long as it can kind of figure out what's going on. Sometimes you do need to go with the big guns and use Agent 3 and that tool, because it can be a little bit too much for the agent. But this is a pretty simple change, even though it does look like it's making a lot of changes to the code. And that's probably because of what I requested was to play the tracks randomly, but play them without playing the same one again. And then until all 3 have been played, then go back to the beginning of the playlist. So it's actually making quite a bit of changes here. Let's see. I'm really curious to see if it pulls off all of this and the audio controls. So it is adding audio controls here. That's great. And as it's doing that, after we're done with this change, that's all that we're going to be doing today on this. This will take another minute or so to run. And when you're done with the game, what do you do next? Well, I suggest deploying it for one. And I also suggest submitting it to places like Crazy Games and remix.gg, or you could even start your own portal, I suppose. But let's go to publishing. And with that, you can load the games into an iframe. So we could set up the publishing here. It's having a problem with my, how many characters? Well, that should be under 63. And publishing the app, then also applying your own domain to it. So if you apply your own domain to it, that can be something a little bit easier to remember instead of something that is auto-generated by Replit. Here, what? Oh, Pasiga. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we're going to publish this. I should have applied these changes first. Oh, wait, no, I did. I don't know what happened there. Sorry, I went too fast. All right, so we're going to publish this thing. See, we may have to just republish this. That's fine with these other changes. But after you apply a domain name to it, and let's see if I can do that while it's... No, I can't. Okay. So after it's done deploying, we can take a look at the settings and we can actually apply our own domain to it. You can buy it within Replit, but I suggest having your own kind of hosting company, DNS records, but on your own hosting company. But if you just want to do everything all in one, you're able to do that here within Replit. They have a beta version of managing domains within Replit. It's great. Just kind of an all-in-one package, which is what Replit's really good at. Just hosting, domain names, all of that. We can do all of that here within Replit, which is pretty cool. So we got sound on and off. I've got my headphones plugged in. Okay, I'm not hearing any music. Oh, there we are. Sometimes that can be a little bit flaky that it doesn't play music right away and you have to kind of toggle it. Okay, I can turn it off. Turn sound off. Yep, sound is off, music is off. So both those things work. This is a pretty functional game, fun application, and you guys can see just how much we can do with a little bit and continue to iterate on this with these tools. I mean, with a bit more work, you could have a really good solid release here that you can be proud of. Already, it's a very, very good game just standing on its own 2 feet right now, and I haven't even played that far into the levels yet. I bet it gets pretty ridiculous really fast. I mean, it is pretty ridiculous really fast. XP shield, picking up coins, grants brief invulnerability. Oh, hey, that's cool. Increase bullet damage, enemies explode. I want to do this aftershock thing. Probably can't see it, though, with all the explosion effects. I should probably tone those down. But I'll leave that to you guys. Let's wrap up this episode. I think you guys can see the potential of this game. And from here, you guys can take it and remix it and make it your own and have a lot of fun with it. One thing quick, I forgot to add the player ship. So I made that change here. And I've added the player ship graphic. So I actually had to manually add it to the public folder here after I'd made that change. And here is the player ship. It has now been added to the game. So now we have full customized graphics within our game. And from here, we could just keep iterating and making it even more awesome. Well, I've got to say, it feels pretty good knowing that a little bit of human creativity still outperforms pure AI game building, at least for now. Today, we had a blast, literally. We took our dual stick shooter, iterated on it, and made it even more fun and chaotic. From here, we could keep on polishing it up and even submit it to a few indie gaming sites to get feedback. Maybe turn this into something bigger. But I want to hear from you. What should we do next with this game? Drop your ideas in the comments below. I'd love to see what you come up with. And if you want to get access to the project code and hang out with other builders, join my school community at codelesscollective.com. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell, and I'll see you in the next one.